in the sprawling metropolis of Eastwich City, where underground tunnels snake beneath the streets like veins beneath skin. A orange tabby cat named Morris works the midnight shift on the city's aging subway system. Morris is no ordinary cat. Standing upright on his hind legs, with distinctive dark orange stripes across his plump frame, he cuts an imposing figure in his navy blue conductor's uniform, complete with a weathered cap that's seen better days. The midnight route, Line X, is notorious among transit workers. Few volunteer for it, but Morris has been running it for 5 years. He's good at his job. Methodical, punctual, and unflappable. What passengers don't know is that after the clock strikes 12, the subway sometimes diverts to stations that don't exist on any official map. The trouble begins on the anniversary of the Great Tunnel Collapse of 1951, when a section of the original subway construction caved in, killing dozens of workers. Morris notices unusual electrical fluctuations in the control panel as his train approaches Parkside Station. The fluorescent lights flicker rhythmically, and the usual rumble of the tracks takes on an almost musical quality, like distant voices humming in unison. A single passenger boards at Parkside, a slender figure in a vintage raincoat, face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat, water dripping despite the clear night above ground. Morris feels an inexplicable chill as the stranger takes a seat in the last car, never looking up. When the train reaches the end of the line, Morris performs his usual walkthrough before heading back in the opposite direction. The mysterious passenger is gone, but something remains on the seat. An antique brass pocket watch with intricate engravings of the subway system, showing tunnels Morris has never seen on any official map. Morris pockets the watch, intending to turn it into Lost and Found, but as he returns to the conductor's booth, the train lurches forward on its own. The control panel displays impossible readings, pressure levels from non-existent depths, temperatures fluctuating wildly, and a destination Morris doesn't recognize. Underhold Station, 1924. The train plunges into a tunnel of absolute darkness, deeper and longer than any on the normal route. When light returns, Morris stares in disbelief through the windshield. The train has emerged into an immaculately preserved station from the 1920s, complete with Art Deco tiling and brass fixtures. On the platform, ghostly passengers in period clothing wait with vacant expressions, newspapers displaying headlines about the stock market's promising future. When Morris opens the doors, the ghostly passengers don't board. They simply stare at him with hollow eyes. A newspaper tumbles across the platform, carried by a breeze that shouldn't exist underground. Morris steps out, compelled by something beyond logic. The moment his paw touches the platform, the ghostly figures vanish like smoke, and the station transforms. The elegant tiling cracks and peels away, revealing crude construction underneath, while dark water begins seeping through the ceiling. Morris races back to the train just as the platform starts to collapse. As the train pulls away, he glimpses something written in fresh red paint on the crumbling wall. "You're on the wrong line." The pocket watch in his pocket grows hot enough to burn through his uniform. When he examines it, he discovers it's counting backward from midnight, not forward. At the next stop, Riverbrook Crossing, 1943. The platform is filled with soldiers in World War II uniforms, all facing away from the track, standing at attention. None respond to Morris's calls. In the shadows between platform lights, Morris spots the mysterious passenger in the raincoat, watching from a distance. When Morris approaches, the figure retreats into a maintenance tunnel not shown on any transit map. Morris follows, finding himself in a control room covered in dust except for a single logbook open to an entry dated the current day, but from 1943. Anomaly continues. Engineer Hargrove reports seeing the future conductor again. Description matches. We must warn him about the convergence. The pocket watch ticks louder now, and Morris realizes each backward tick corresponds with lights flickering throughout the station. He returns to the platform to find the soldiers gone, replaced by scenes of a terrible accident, with broken bodies and scattered debris. Among them, he recognizes faces of co-workers who supposedly quit the midnight shift years ago. The train's horn blares on its own, doors shutting automatically as it pulls away toward Chancellor Square, 1972. Here, the platform appears normal at first, a busy station during what seems to be rush hour. But something is wrong with the passengers. They move too quickly, their conversations just noise at an impossibly high pitch. When Morris adjusts the train's external speakers to slow down the sound, he can make out fragments, coming through thin places, trapped between. In a newspaper stand, every publication shows the same headline. Transit Authority covers up dimensional fracture. The mysterious passenger appears again, this time standing directly across the platform, pointing deliberately at Morris, and then to a maintenance door labeled Temporal Regulation Unit. Inside, Morris discovers walls covered with photographs of himself driving the train on different dates throughout the past century. Impossible, given his age. A logbook contains entries from transit workers across different eras, all describing the same phenomenon. At certain cosmic alignments, the subway system connects not just physical locations but temporal ones. The entries suggest Morris isn't randomly visiting these stations. He's being deliberately pulled through time because something catastrophic is approaching. The final entry, dated 1983, reads, "If you're reading this, conductor, the cycle is completing. The passenger has been trying to break the loop for a century. You must reach Terminal 0 before your watch stops, or we all remain trapped." As Morris exits, the station transforms into a half-constructed skeleton of itself. Chancellor Square during its initial construction in the 1960s. Workers move around him, oblivious to his presence, except for one. A younger version of the mysterious passenger, this time without the concealing hat. Their eyes meet in recognition, though Morris has never seen this person before. The train departs automatically, this time plunging deeper than ever before. The pocket watch shows only 30 minutes remaining as they arrive at intersection point unknown. This station exists in multiple time periods simultaneously. Sections of modern construction blend into Victorian brickwork, while futuristic lighting illuminates ancient support columns. Ghostly passengers from every era of the city's history mill about, some passing through each other, all unaware of the temporal overlapping. At the center of the platform stands the mysterious passenger, finally removing the concealing hat to reveal an elderly face bearing a conductor's badge from the original subway line. This is Hargrove, the first conductor of Line X, mentioned in the 1943 logbook. He explains that during the initial subway construction, workers discovered something ancient beneath the city. A natural temporal junction where time flows like water around a stone. The subway system was secretly designed to harness this power, allowing select trains to monitor the timeline for anomalies. But during the Great Tunnel Collapse of 1951, something went wrong. The disaster wasn't just a cave-in. It was a temporal implosion that trapped dozens of souls between moments, forever riding ghost trains through fractured time. Hargrove reveals he's been living in this liminal space for subjective centuries, trying to find a conductor capable of breaking the cycle. The pocket watch isn't just counting down, it's measuring the window of opportunity before a once-in-a-century temporal alignment that could either seal the fracture or tear it wide open. Morris must reach Terminal 0, the original station built at the temporal junction, before the watch stops. But Hargrove warns that breaking the cycle means confronting what really happened during the collapse, including Hargrove's own role in the disaster. As they speak, the station begins to shake. The temporal overlap is becoming unstable, eras bleeding into each other more violently. Modern passengers suddenly appear, panicking as they witness ghostly figures from the past. Support columns from different time periods phase in and out of existence, compromising structural integrity. Morris races back to the train, but Hargrove doesn't follow. "I've made this journey 1,000 times, Conductor. This is your train now." With 15 minutes remaining on the pocket watch, Morris drives deeper into uncharted tunnels. The control panel no longer displays recognizable information, just cascading symbols and fluctuating light patterns. The train passes through stations from impossible times, a futuristic terminal with technology Morris can't comprehend, an ancient underground temple that predates the city by millennia. Throughout the journey, ghostly passengers begin to appear inside the train, the victims of the 1951 collapse, still wearing their work clothes covered in dust and rubble. They watch Morris silently, neither threatening nor helping, simply witnessing. With 5 minutes remaining, Morris reaches what can only be Terminal Zero, a perfect circular platform carved from stone that appears neither built nor designed, but somehow grown from the bedrock itself. At its center stands a control panel that mirrors the one in Morris's train, but infinitely more complex. As Morris approaches, the ghostly workers from 1951 form a circle around the panel. The pocket watch burns white-hot in his paw as he realizes the terrible truth. The collapse wasn't an accident. Hargrove deliberately triggered it to seal a temporal breach that threatened to swallow the entire city. The workers were sacrificed to create a living barrier between dimensions. For 70 years, their souls have maintained the seal, but it's weakening. The watch shows 1 minute remaining as Morris faces an impossible choice: reinforce the seal by adding his own life force to the barrier, potentially trapping himself in temporal limbo forever, or attempt to free the trapped souls by breaking the cycle entirely, risking whatever might come through the unsealed breach. In the final moments, Morris notices something Hargrove missed. The control panel isn't designed to seal the breach or release it, but to harmonize with it. The subway wasn't built to fight the temporal junction, but to work in concert with it. The workers didn't need to be sacrificed. They were victims of fear and misunderstanding. As the watch ticks down its final seconds, Morris adjusts the controls to create a harmonic resonance with the temporal energies. The ghostly workers begin to fade, not vanishing, but finally moving on after decades of suspension. The grinding of metal and stone fills the chamber as the very nature of the station shifts around him. The watch strikes zero, and everything goes silent. Morris awakens on his train at Parkside Station, exactly where the night began. Everything appears normal, but subtle differences emerge as he completes his shift. Stations have slightly different color schemes, certain stops have new names, and his co-workers reference events Morris doesn't remember. When he checks the official map at the end of his shift, Line X now shows a complete circuit with no missing stations. The temporal fractures have been integrated into the normal flow of time, not sealed away, but harmonized. As Morris leaves the station at dawn, he passes a memorial plaque he's never noticed before, listing the names of those lost in the 1951 incident, including engineer Edmund Hargrove, the hero who prevented the disaster from claiming more lives. A final name catches his eye, added recently according to the fresh engraving: Morris Timetable, Guardian of the Line. In his pocket, the antique watch now ticks forward normally, but occasionally, just between the seconds, it seems to move in both directions at once. Thank you for riding the midnight rails with Morris. If the ticking pocket watch still haunts your dreams, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another descent into Eastwich's hidden nightmares. Tell me in the comments, which station would you never dare to board? Until the next fracturing of time, keep your watch close. And whatever you do, stay off the wrong line.